So hopefully you're not thinking about your feet, you're not judging them, you haven't got an opinion about them. But you see, because the ego wants to judge everything, to be critical about everything, to have an opinion about everything. Yes?
Please may I ask a question?
No. Yes.
So if someone's talking to you and you may or may not be interested in what they have to say, but you're trying to be mindful and respectful and have awareness and pay, to give them your undivided attention. What happens if you're too focused on the feeling in your feet and you still just drift off thinking about your own feet?
Well, no, because then you're okay. Well, it's a great question, but okay. So if you look at our conversations now, okay. So I'm looking at you, you're looking at me. I'm aware of this sensation in my feet, but I'm completely focused on you. Yes. So if you're talking to me, I'm completely focused on that. But I can maintain my awareness of my feet. You see, the only time that you would drift off to answer your question is if you were thinking about your feet. So if I started to think, actually my feet are quite cold. Yeah, now what's Sam talking about? She's whittling a load of rubbish. I think I'm going to go in for a nice warm bath in a minute because my feet are cold. Then I'm going to miss what you're saying because I'm thinking. But that's not awareness.
Right, okay.
So it makes sense.
Differentiate between awareness and thinking.
This is learning to differentiate between awareness and thinking. Yes? So when we're being mindful, now, okay, I've picked the feet, but we could pick anywhere. Okay? So we'll just keep trying to build on this. So again, wherever you're listening to this, go along with me with this. I want you to bring your awareness to the center of your chest. Now, I want you to take some nice deep breaths in and out, but imagine that you're breathing in and out through your chest, through your heart. Just imagine that as you breathe in, you're breathing in through your chest, and as you're breathing out through your chest, through the center of your chest, through your heart. But see whether you can do this without thinking about it or imagining it or questioning it or judging it, just experiencing it, just being aware. And notice what your mind's doing. Notice how active it is. Notice how it's trying to pull you away from this simplest of tasks, isn't it? It's a really simple request, isn't it? But how difficult is it? And that's because what we're looking at is this untrained mind. So the term monkey mind, which is obviously the name of this whole business and project, was actually termed by Buddha 2,500 years ago when he described the untrained human mind as like being filled with drunken monkeys jumping around from branch to branch, screeching and hollering, with fear being an especially loud monkey pointing out all the things we should be worried about and afraid of. Yes? And so it's been around for all those years, and so it's still exactly the same today, except today our monkeys have got more to get their attention. There's endless cat videos on Facebook and all of the other wonderful things that we occupy our time with, and we occupy our eyes and our brain with. And so our brains are just completely untrained. And so holding people's attention now, or when you're talking to somebody, how much do you notice not just your mind wandering and your attention wandering, but theirs? Attention spans are getting shorter and shorter. And that's because of this untrained mind. So this is about learning simple techniques, which are really simple, but they need a lot of practice. Because notice again, we'll just bring our attention back to it now, back to breathing in through our chest. Now notice though, that every second that you can be aware of just that simple act, this thinking mind, the ego mind, the monkey mind just disappears, doesn't it? It's not there. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
But then notice how quickly it comes back and it wants to get your attention. Yes? So, if you can do something though for 2 seconds or 5 seconds, what does that mean? It means with practice you can do it for 10 seconds. And if you can do it for 10 seconds, what does that mean?
A different minute.
With practice, you can do it for 20 seconds. And then you'll do it for 30 seconds, and then you'll do it for 4, and then eventually you'll do it for a minute, and then you'll lose it. So this is a skill, and any skill needs practice and repetition, and it will not happen overnight. Yes? And so here's a simple analogy. Now, of course, this comes back to your question of how do I improve relationships? But can we see that a key way of doing that is to be able to give somebody our undivided attention. So if I am being mindful, as I am now with you, Kerry, and with you, Sam, so I'm here, I'm present, I'm conscious, I'm mindful, I'm not thinking anything. So you can tell that I'm here, that I'm not thinking about something else, that I'm not trying to force a conversation, that I'm not trying to impress. I'm just simply here. And when you're talking, I'm simply here. And there's no reactivity. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the key things when we learn this skill and practice it is that I am only going to be reactive to something that you say if I'm in my monkey mind, my egoic mind. Because then, if you're talking, I might be saying, oh, well, she's talking nonsense, this is rubbish. Or whatever it might be, I'm judging it. Or I'm saying, oh, God, hurry up, I've got to get on. So I'm doing something in my mind, which is then making me feel unsettled and rattled and stressed. And does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when we've learned to literally sort of park our mind, when we're being mindful in this interaction with another human being, it's not possible for me to get frustrated or angry or reactive if my ego mind isn't there. If I've just learnt to park it during that conversation, during that interaction, then I'm not going to get frustrated. I'm not going to get bored. I'm not going to get angry. I'm not going to get stressed. I'm not going to be critical and judgmental. Now, somebody might be saying something that I might not agree with, but if my ego's not there, I don't feel the compunction to point out that they're talking nonsense, or in my opinion they're talking nonsense, because of course all these things are based on the fact that if you listen to what everybody's saying and what you're saying, people talk as if what they're saying is the truth. It is fact, without realizing that the vast majority of the time that what everybody's saying is just mere opinion. It's what they think about something. But these days, more and more, on the news and social media, people completely miss opinion for fact. They think something is, just because they've said it, just because they think it, just because it's been written down somewhere, people say, well, no, that's true. But where's the evidence? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.